Morning. It's Sunday. It's not quite as beautiful as it was on Saturday out, but still, it's a nice morning, although it's like 11. I slept in. I wanted to touch base on some things going on with Love Dahlia. Today we start some meetings with the professionals in our community to discuss youth mental health. So that process starts today. And so that's one of our, I'd say that's our big thing right now. In a week or so, our adult action committee is going to start our meetings to get back into other things that we can do in the community, like we did last year with the birdhouses, glimmers, just various things like that. So that process, kind of getting our other action items, will get started next weekend. We are also working on something kind of big. It is not just kind of, it is big. So some of you know where I live and our home and stuff like that. So we have a very large pasture with a nice animal barn. And the animal barn, we ended up giving away our pets, or our barn animals, after Dahlia passed, because it was just emotionally way too hard for me to deal with, because those were hers, and that was something her and I did together every day, was spend time in the barn and the pasture, and I just couldn't handle it. Also, I have some physical limitations where shearing sheep and trimming hooves and stuff, just physically I couldn't really do that anymore. So so we had made the decision to find other homes for our barn animals, and they all went to great homes. We did research of who they were going to, and we made sure that they went to good homes. So normally I am not the kind of person that would ever give up an animal. I firmly believe that, once you have an animal, that's a lifetime commitment, but it was just too hard. And so our pasture and the barn has set empty for some time. And we were, after Dahlia passed, some of our good friends, they planted a tree for us in the pasture in Dahlia's honor. And that's really kind of been, because Dahlia doesn't have a grave site, that's kind of been her grave site, her memorial. And now with the loss of other kids, and not all of them also have grave sites either, I want this to turn into a space where people can come and reflect and treat it as some sort of, like a memorial of the people that we've lost, the kids that we've lost. So I'm going to kind of show you around the area. First, I'm going to show you the first tree we ever planted as a memorial. Again, some of you who know me well, we are really big dog people. We've fostered and rescued pretty much our entire adult lives, my husband and I. And we've gotten a lot of dogs that were sick and didn't have a lot of years left. So, unfortunately, we have a lot of dogs buried in our yard. So first I'm going to show you what I call the Kirby tree, because Kirby was my first dog as an adult, and he was my absolute best friend. Totally changed my world for different, yeah, Kirby was a good boy. So I'm going to show you the Kirby tree, and then we'll walk into the pasture, and I'm going to kind of give you some ideas on what's going on, like what our thoughts are. We don't have much money to do a lot of this, so we'll be asking for assistance, to make this work. We are a nonprofit, so if you need volunteer hours for something, whether it's the National Honor Society or something else like that, your work here would count towards that, because we are an official approved 501(c)(3) nonprofit with the government. So, and all this work that I'm going to be telling you is specific for Love Dahlia and our mission, and to help others. So, all right, so let me turn the camera around. I am currently sitting in our tree house without a tree, but Sophia calls it her castle because it's been pinkified. So, all right, here, okay, first of all, that barn and mess is our neighbors. So please don't judge me on that. I have called the township more than once to try to get this cleaned up. It's a vacant lot, and it just turns into a dumping ground. So All right, this is our Kirby tree, and it started out as a very small little stick, and this is where I would always go to reflect on the pets that I've lost. We have little markers here and there, and yeah, the flowers have really taken off. I planted like 2 when our first dog passed, and it was buried right underneath this rock, and they've really like overgrown. I need to spread these bulbs out throughout the yard now, but you can see there's multiple markers. I honestly am not sure how many dogs are here under here, but there's also our pig Bosco, our one sheep Ari, some bunnies that we lost, Frederick and Wilhelm, Norbert the dragon, even Dahlia's little woolly bear that passed away. He lives under here now too. So this is our Kirby tree, which inspired the tree that I'm going to show you in a second. So here is the arch to the pasture, and this is a pile of rubbish that is going to be gone away. I just started planting a really, it's going to be a, oh gosh, now I can't even think of the word. It's the one with the purple flowers that dangle. Not Hyacinthia. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Anyways, so in theory, there's going to be a really pretty flowers that are going to go over the arch, and they're going to spread out over here. And obviously this trash is going away. So here's the entrance to the pasture. This is not the only entrance, by the way. If you've ever seen me post about Dahlia and I sitting on the down tree, this was Dahlia's tree. Clearly it's, you know, nature is taking it back, but this is where we would spend a lot of time just sitting and reflecting and playing with sticks and talking to the animals. Here is Dahlia's tree. It is done fabulous. So I just thank you to the Ordways for planting this and putting all of this out. It's fenced in because when it was planted, we still had our sheep and we didn't want anything happening to it. So obviously we need some spring cleanup here to get this all done. But this area is lit up from dusk to dawn in blue every night, 24/7. Well, not 24/7, it would be 365, yeah. So we've got some spotlights here. So during the winter, we use electricity for it. In this summer, I have solar lights that we use. But we just can't get enough light here in Michigan for the solar. Over here, and again, don't mind the stuff because we've been cleaning, is the big entrance to the pasture. We need to buy a new gate for that because right now it's just a couple cattle panels that you slide in and out. But we would like to have like an official gate to make it easy to come in and out of. That way it'll be nice looking. So the thought is, once you come through this gate, is that the pathway here to the barn is going to be lined with wildflowers and sunflowers, and then a path. If you can see this really green section here that goes up to that section, that's where like the tiles, I think they're called tiles, for the drainage from the main yard come out to here, and it's kind of like a bubbly section. So we have this closed off because poor Gracie, she's fallen in it more than once, and it's kind of a little bit of a gross water. And so eventually what I'd like to do is do some sort of, I think it's called a French drain, where it's, you know, like river rock that'll come down here to kind of contain the water a little bit better, and then go out to the field to connect to the drainage here that then goes out to the creek that is out this way. This used to be a garden, but with the wet seasons, it just was too hard to keep it dry because of everything from the neighbor's yard and the drainage from our yard just all filters in right through here. And again, that barn, all of that trash, that dumped camper van or camper is not ours. That's a different property. So it just, I gotta find a better way so we don't have to look at the trash. I don't know what to do there. This is our tree house without a tree. a favorite spot of ours. When you sit up top, you can really see all of our land out here. That's all ours over there. It's gorgeous. Okay, so back to, then once this gets a little less squishy, maybe even a little tiny bridge to go over it, because it is, you know, just squish. So a nice little path here of flowers and mowed section. And of course we'll leave unmowed section because there's just so many wild animals out here that need it, whether it's bugs or mice or whatever can have it. And then we have the path then that's going to go around the tree, the memorial tree. And I've got a little bird bath and some other decorations that we'll put out here. And then the path will continue this way up into the old animal barn that we are working on turning into something better. So this section goes all the way around to the back. It's where we would have the chickens, a secured area for them. You can see there's like even a doggy door for the chickens. So we're not going to do anything with that part except for clean it up. We're going to be painting things, making it look nice. We've got some cleanup to do back through here, some power washing to do. And then that is Dahlia. She made this for Girl Scouts one year. What year was that? 2022. Yeah, so that'll stay. The exterior of the barn needs painted, and it looks like the dogs have found something that's trying to live under there. But the thought is, whoop, as I trip, this front section is going to be, we've got railroad ties that are going to outline it, make it look nice. But we're going to have like some benches and seating out here. Just a nice place to just sit. And we'll have a fire pit, and then you'll be able to view the memorial tree. So people, again, can come and have a nice place to just sit. And again, I've got to figure out what to do so we don't have to see this mess. We've been dealing with it for many, many years now. The actual owner is in prison, so I don't even know who is taking care of this, but it is just a nasty mess pit. I really dislike it. They built that barn too close to our property too, so that's a whole other issue. My poor bench is rotting too. I need a new one of those. So we're actually what I call in the north pasture. So the inside of the barn is something that's going to be taking the longest work because we have years of pushed down dirt and stuff. But the thought is, and actually the kids have been working on shoveling this out for us, and the dogs have been kind enough to dig as well. But we're going to remove all of the chicken coop stuff here, and eventually turn this into a space with a real floor, you know, electricity, insulation. I'd like to get a couple windows for this side, that side, and up top here, and just make this some sort of space that can be used, not as a barn, but something more. And again, this is where a lot of work and finance is going to have to happen, and we're not ready for that. So this summer we're really going to be focusing on the exterior of the barn, new paint, garden area, all of that, because it's a nice space here. And again, sorry, we're getting rid of wood. We started working on this last weekend or two, so slowly, and you can see the dogs have found things trying to live their lives out here when the dogs are eating it. Right here we're facing the south pasture. It has its own separate entrance and fencing. And these trees here are Dahlia's, one of her favorite spots. She has a hammock that she would come sit out here, and then we bought her a hammock tent that she would camp out here. And so we will be putting getting 2 hammocks out here, and it'll be a nice space. The fencing that was around here, these trees, was to keep the sheep from eating the tree, but it didn't really keep them out. So I'll be removing all of those fence posts and this old fencing. And then that thing you see in the back over there, it's a chicken tractor that we used to use for our meat chickens. It's obviously been a couple years since we've had meat chickens, so that'll stay there. We won't get rid of it until it's time to actually get meat chickens again, which I don't know when that'll happen. But here, so this is the south pasture, and again, these pastures are pretty big, and you know, great views when you look this way and not at that. But here's a nice space. I actually have another bench on the other side of this chicken tractor where I go out to sit a lot and just enjoy nature. I can see our house, I can see the back, I can see everything. The dogs get some nice time out here, but yeah, there's my poor little bench that's, again, I think it was found on the side of the road by my cousin well over a decade ago, and you can see this thing is like, it is barely holding on, but I can still sit on it. So here's the nice view from that bench. So that is our barn as well. It's a pole barn. Here's our bees. We haven't had bees in quite some time. We're thinking probably next year we'll start having bees again. But then we're just panning north, and there's the barn that we are really wanting to work on, and we'll call it Dahlia's Guest House. I'd like to have some sort of sign made to hang on the front too. And then you can see panning around the tree house without a tree, the neighbor's junk, and then our house is right behind there. So it is a really nice spot out here to just be. And so that's kind of something that I want to be able to share with all of us grieving. Just a place where you can just sit and, you know, think or run around and crazy like play, you know, like Dahlia and Sophia's friends out to our house all the time. They're out here just running amok, having fun, and just being kids, even though, you know, they're angsty teenagers. And so I'd like to keep that going for people. So yeah, this is the most physically and financially demanding part of what we're hoping for this year, is getting the north pasture set in a way that it can be a place where if, you know, somebody you've lost doesn't have an actual grave site, you can come here and sit and reflect, or you can, you know, have a bonfire with your friends and roast marshmallows in their honor. You know, Dahlia and Bella are both Girl Scouts, so that's totally up their alley. Yeah. So that's what's going on. Like I said, today is a big day, lots of meetings and stuff for me. But I am hopeful. It's a lot of work. I'm really glad that I have such a great team of people behind Love Dahlia, friends, family, community. You know, I don't want to say the word blessed, because my whole life isn't blessed. If I was blessed, I'd have my little Dahlia right here, and I'd probably be yelling at her to get out of the tree because she climbed too high. But I'm thankful for what I do have, and you know, together we'll make this a good place, I think. So yeah, summing it up, if you have volunteer hours that you need, there's a lot of work here at the pasture to do. If you are somebody who is handy in you know, the skills trade of whether it's construction or landscaping, and would like to offer some of your time or discounted rates, that would be amazing. Like I said, we just don't really have finances for things. I don't like asking for handouts, so this is weird. But anyways, this isn't just for my household. I really want to emphasize that. I really want this to be for everybody. So, you know, 2 weeks ago there was a handful of kids running amok around here, and I want to keep that up. So, yeah. I hope everyone has a pretty decent Sunday, and I'm hopeful that the weather is going to continue going in the right direction for spring. I need to get my seeds going. I love being in my hands deep in dirt, so yeah. All right, take care.